All right, good morning, everybody. Today we have just a few tickers. There's some more we could look at if we run out here, but nothing too fantastic yet. We've got CYTO here, looking pretty good in the pre-market. We saw a big run up from about 49 cents all the way to a high of about 72 cents without wicks. Looking pretty good right now. I like the patterns playing out. We might bounce off this VWAP line. If that's the case, we'll probably take a play. We have Sea here, another one with a nice run up from 290 all the way up to 366. Still looking pretty good here. This thing below that VWAP, so that is something that kind of worries me. We may have to break back above that before taking a play or start to see at least some upward movement towards it. We do have a resistance line in the same area, so that could be a problem. We've got Stim here. Also looking all right. We did have a run up from about 395 to 485. We're currently sitting in the middle of that right now. Pretty good consolidation for this. This is probably something that will move throughout the day, but probably not too much. I could be totally wrong about that. I could end up going crazy, but we'll have to see with time. Hard to tell. HNST is also looking okay. A run up from about 334 all the way up to a high there, 382. So a decent range on this one as well. Price action and volume seem a little bit lower right now. And we'll check that out on open. And then we have APLD here. Popped up on the scanner as a gainer. Not really sure why. We did open lower. Looks like it hasn't really done a whole lot. We have barcoding price action, which isn't really something we want to see. Volume's really sporadic and low. Nothing looking really fantastic about it, so we're probably going to skip out on this one, but you never know. Could start to run. We have SOBR we could take a look at. Not looking great there. We have HNST. We have that one up already. BTCS. Nope. SCYX. Nothing there. We've got NOBN. Nope. And then I think that was it for things that popped up that were new. We could try AVDL again. Yeah, no, still don't like that. Okay, we're good with what we have then as the market opens here. Saito looks like it's going to go for it, so we're probably going to go ahead and take a play on that. CYTO. We're probably going to want to wait for a little bit of a pullback here, probably back down to about 69, 68 cents. So we're going to go 0.68. We're going to go 0.80, and then we're going to go for a go for a 0.66 stop. We'll give it 2 cents. So we don't want to see this break below this VWAP line, essentially. We'll see how that goes. Ooh, I gotta say, I don't like my alerts being down here. Makes it a lot harder for me. I'm super lazy like that. Stim doesn't look like it's doing a whole lot. HNST also not really doing much, and we do have APLD looking like it's breaking into resistance areas. I'm still waiting on CDU to see if it's going to pick up a little bit here. We do have Saito here at 71 cents, almost 72 cents, so it's looking okay so far. 75 cents, we could start to take some profit here. Start to take some profit on Saito 0.75. We're definitely decently in profit with this one, so don't let those profits slip up. Make sure you secure at least a little bit of it. Looks like it's going to be coming back down here a little bit, so we're going to see a pullback on that. CDU is probably going to drop. If it does drop, we'll be looking at 200 EMA entry. We do have Stim looking like it wants to break through here, so we're going to go ahead and put out some trade here on Stim, I think. This is going to be a little bit risky. We are breaking into resistance area zone, so we want to make sure that we have a decent entry on this. Maybe 440 would be a good spot to aim for, I think. Yeah, I'd say 440. We're going to go for 480 on it, and then a 4... We can give it about 12 cents. So we could go, I don't know, 428. Let's give it 428. I think that seems fair. Unfortunately, I picked right on a resistance line, so we're just going to put it right there. Unfortunately, we can't really afford to get it below this 200 EMA unless we saw it drop even further. If we see it drop to like 337, we might be able to move that stop down far enough to get it below that 200 EMA. Ideally, that's what we would like. APLD breaking through most of its resistances here. Pretty good climb, actually. Not something you would have expected out of that. Saito back down to 69 cents. This looks like a good spot for a re-entry. We do see lots of volume here. So I'm going to go ahead and open up another full position on Saito at 0.69. We're going to go for a point, we'll go for 0.75 again on it, and then a 0.67 for a stop loss. Oh, we might get 0.68 here. Saito. Okay, getting in at 0.67 here. That makes our stop loss. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to keep it 0.66. I don't want to see this drop any lower than it just did, so hopefully we bounce off this VWAP line. If we don't, we take a 1 cent stop out on that new trade. That's not a huge deal. We'll see what happens there. Stim looking like it is heading back up now. I'll take a look at the chat. Oh, how do you open them in a new tab? Yeah. Yeah, definitely life-saving to know that. Sea-Doo dropped 330. Stim at 450 here. We've got HNST not really doing a whole lot. APLD still climbing. Still see this climbing. Might have to take a play on that. We got a couple other things we could take a look at too. We got PXLW. It is climbing. Price action's pretty spotty right now, so we're going to keep an eye on it, but I don't think we're going to play it just yet. And then we have AREC. Not looking fantastic. WYY. It's okay. Nothing fantastic there. We just looked at CYCC. Yeah, I think that's basically it for right now. So we'll just leave it as is. Maybe something new will pop up here in a bit. Saito still struggling. Stim back down to the 440 area if you didn't get your entry the first time and you're still waiting on it. It's looking like it will hit that 440 area, and it has a good chance to come lower. So I'm still waiting on that entry. I think I can probably get that 437, 436 entry to make that stop go below this 200 EMA. HNST with a random spike of volume. APLD still going higher. I think I'm just going to try it. I'm going to jump in on APLD here. We're going to see what we can accomplish on that. APLD 150. We're going to go for 155 and then a 145. No, not 145. We'll go for 147 stop. I'm going to give it a second here. We're going to see if this drops. Okay, I'm going to take the risk. We'll go for the 147. You don't necessarily even have to go 147. You could go tighter if you want to. We'll see, though. We'll see what happens. I think it's worth the risk. This is quite the run-up, and it could very well continue. This could be a consolidation right here before another continued run. Stim down to that 430 area. If you were waiting for that entry, it looks like you're getting a good one at 430. So I'm going to jump in here. 430, I think my stop loss only really needs to be 420. Not going to give it that 12 cents, just give it the 10 cents. Entered, Stim 430, SL 420. Still sticking to the same kind of price target. Still think this can hit that 480 level. Hopefully this does continue to move up. We'll probably see a bounce off this 200 EMA. That makes me a lot more comfortable. We do have Saito back up at 6.9, looking good there. HNST still looking pretty strong as well. APLD did stop us out, drop back down. So we can go ahead and APLD. Let's see here. Okay. Of course, it moves all the way back up, all the way to 154, just after it stops us out. But that's okay. It is what it is. APLD. Stem still sitting around that 430 area. We have Saito here making its move up to 0.71, looking pretty good there. APLD passes our expectations here at 1.56. PXLW still not really showing us anything we want to see. We got a couple other things we could potentially look at here. Well, one thing right now. We've got MRTN. It's looking okay. I don't really like that price range. We'll just close that one down. I still think APLD could be a winner. We just got to pick it correctly. Maybe we'll, if it drops back down to that 146 or 147 area, we'll look at taking another play on it. Filled in SL and Stim. Oh, earlier, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of why I was waiting for that entry on Stim. It looked like we were seeing at that top band there, so it's kind of hard to justify jumping in especially anything higher than 440. So just kind of waited it out and then got knifed on, so decided to take a lower entry, although it looks like we might break through this 200 EMA. This is looking very bearish right now. I would say this MACD has to turn around sometime soon, so that's our only saving grace right now, is that Saito going to go up? I believe it's going to go up, yeah. I would say so. Stim looks like it's going to bounce successfully here as well. APLD all the way back down to 1.47. And I think that's basically where we want to jump back in on this is 1.47. So I'm going to go ahead and try APLD again here at 1.47. We're going to go for I'd like 1.60 and 1.44. So we're going to give it that 3-cent stop. 1.44 doesn't really bring us down too far. Definitely not where we're safe, but this is a risky play all around, and we're just going round 2 into the risk. So we'll see what happens here. Maybe we'll hit PT. That would be fantastic to hit 160. It's not super far off. We're a little bit far off. We need to hit that new high, definitely, but I don't think that's impossible by any means. Saito moving up to 0.72 now. Looking pretty good here. 0.75 should be attainable. If you want, you could start taking profits at 0.73. That would be the safe bet. Sea-Doo's coming down still. It looks like it's breaking into a range, but with a lot of downward pressure. It's kind of hard to tell where this is actually headed right now. Stim is turning around off that 200. APLD still seeing around that 1.51. VWAP is higher than our stop loss, so that's a good news. If you're waiting for your entry, it looks like it's coming up here pretty shortly. Saito looking to make that push up to 0.73. Gonna go ahead and say to take some profits at 0.73. Take some profits on Saito 0.73. Sea-Doo still heading down, Stim back down. Not a lot of buying pressure going on today. We're seeing a lot of stagnation right now. Yeah, nothing new popping up on the scanner as well. We got some things early in the red like Hitty. Don't really want to play things moving down, so we'll just leave it as is. We might see Stim break down here. Saito's back at 0.69, yeah. Yeah. As long as it holds on VWAP, we're okay. If it starts to break down lower than this 0.67 area, I think it's probably going to be trouble. Although with the way the market's headed right now, nothing's looking fantastic, so I think we're just going to have to play it safe on some of these trades here. APLD did drop down to that VWAP line at 146, bounced off successfully. Very good price point for an entry. We got 146 or 147, looking good. Back up to 151. Saito back up to 0.70. Stim still holding on to that 200 EMA, but it's not looking fantastic quite yet. This is a very bullish candle. This is looking good. Next one's opening up. If this one starts looking bullish too, we could be looking to see a move up here. Having a real hard time though. Sino back up to 0.71. HNST is down. We have APLD at 0.5 or 1.54. Decent place to take profit from 1.46, so definitely want to think about taking profit around there. Think about taking profit on APLD at 1.54. Definitely want to secure some profit, especially since we stopped out last time due to volatility. So you know what? Take the profit when it's there. Stim still sitting around that 430 area, and I think we found that stock today that's just gonna take forever to do anything, and it's gonna be this one. Saito's not looking fantastic either. It does look like it's kind of tightening its range, but it is holding on this VWAP line very well so far. So if you haven't taken profits on Saito yet, maybe do it when you're at 0.72, 0.73, something like that. I wouldn't take it all out. I would take at least a little bit out though. So if you do hit the rest on that stop or have to cut, it's not so bad. HNST is down. There's really got to be something else that's moving. None of my scanners are picking up anything other than Sea-Doo. It's funny that Sea-Doo's the thing taking up all the momentum alerts because there's really nothing going on with Sea-Doo. It's got lots of volume, sure, but besides the volume, it doesn't have a whole lot going for it. Saito with a nice drop here. Looking pretty bearish. I would definitely consider taking the cut on it. We're going to see what happens with that. Stim also not looking fantastic. Really just slow. Super, super slow. Curious to see if Saito can recover from this or not. Yeah, I would think that now would be a good time to sell Saito. Well, it's hitting stop now, so if you didn't take profits around this top area here, it looks like you're hitting stop on the full amount. Not good. Not good at all. Stim's still sitting at 430, so it's not really doing a whole lot still. Sea-Doo does have a big potential to start to move up. The problem I'm having is there's really not a lot here for support. We saw, this run up happened in just a couple candles, so there's really nothing to build off of in this area. I think this is just going to be one of those things where we kind of wait and see. Either we wait to see if it breaks through this VWAP line at some point and start taking place on it then, or we wait and see if it drops down to that 200 EMA, and maybe we take a play off that. Stim gaining a couple cents here up to 437. HNST with a nasty drop. APLD still sitting up really high. We're at 152 on that. Saito continues its drop. I think that it's probably going to go down to that 200 EMA. That's definitely a possibility here. Again, we don't see much support below this point here, so this is something we want to keep in mind as well, is that that'll probably be the last area of support. Even probably a little bit higher. We're probably looking at more like here. USEA is running again. We could take a look at that. Yeah, it's not looking terrible. I mean, it did have a nice run up today. Pretty consistent price action. Looks like we found a bottom here, at least right now. So that's 269. So you could probably give this about 7 or 8 cents for a stop loss. So if you're trying to get 269, then you want maybe like max 277 for an entry. I'd honestly think that you'd want to get a little lower though, maybe like 266. Stim went. Oh, it did go. Look at that, all the way to 450. And then right back down. Well, if you were fast at it, you took some profits there. That was definitely a good place to take profits, especially if you were thinking this is slow and you want to bail on it. Waiting to see what Saito does here. This could be the bottom or very close to it. I think 0.63 is probably a safe place to jump back in on Saito. So I think that's what we're basically aiming to do here. Let's go Saito, 0.63. We're going to go 0.70. And then a 0.6. I don't want to give it 3 cents. Maybe 0.61. Yeah, we'll go 0.61. We'll give it 2 cents. Even though that's still kind of a little bit more than I'd like to at this point, but it's kind of a necessary stop loss on that. Stim struggling again. APLD definitely breaking into a range here. This is looking pretty good. USEA down to that 0.75. This is the area we were talking about that we wanted to see, and I'm glad we're seeing that now. So we can go USEA 2.6. No, 2.74. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. USDA 2.74, 2.65 stop loss. Give it about 9 cents. That's not too far of a stretch. And then we need to make at least 290 out of it. Let's go for 290. 2.65 stop loss. How did that turn out, by the way? How did that look the first time? Oh, it just didn't pop up at all. With a limit profit taker? I don't know. That's a tough one. I didn't see how fast it moved up and moved back down, but I'm assuming that it probably wouldn't have filled you. Let's see. Maybe Stim can come back here. APLD with a slight breakdown past that VWAP line. That's definitely not something you want to see, especially when you have that MACD hitting that 0 line. Maybe we can see a retracement here. It looks like it is retracing. Not very strong, though. We're still kind of sitting below it. Zella we could take a look at as well. Oh, there we go. Whoa, real cheap. We're going real cheap now. 17 cents. Yeah, I don't know if I want to touch something that cheap. We're looking at less than a cent for a stop out. I don't know, maybe. Like hard, maybe. If there's nothing else to play, I'll probably take a play on it. But for right now, I think we're not doing too bad, so leave it be for right now. It's on day 2 of its run. That was a pretty good run, though. It was down at 15 cents, and now it's like that. I mean, that doesn't sound like a good run, but when you're this cheap, that's still quite a bit of money. Every cent is like 4% here. 9 cents yesterday, yeah. So that's a pretty good run. Although this 200 EMA bounce is looking pretty juicy on Zella, I gotta say. All right, you've convinced me, or maybe I've convinced myself. I'm not sure. Either way, we'll go Zella 0.1650. We're gonna go for a 0.18, and then a point. I don't know, just 0.1600. We're not gonna go too far down, and it feels really weird to be typing in 4 digits for a cent, but you definitely need to on a stock like this. We're giving it half a cent, basically. That's all we can afford. And we shouldn't need more than that for Zella, but you never know. This could be a good win. This could be a good win. I'm not even sure if the trade tracker registers something that cheap. Yeah, it immediately rounds it up to 17 cents. So I'm just gonna have to type in 16 cents for the stop or for the entry. That's funny. Yeah, we were playing it last year at $3. I do remember that it was popping up quite frequently. And this is how you know we're not in a bull market anymore, because something that was consistently sitting around $3 is now 16 cents. APLD still struggling, but we did see a spike up to 158, so I think that actually hits our PT. Nope, not quite. We wanted 160 out of it, but we got pretty close there. I'm sure we'll continue to get even closer. USDA is actually not going too bad. We saw it down to that 0.74, which was like the perfect entry. We've moved back up to 283 now. At 284, you could consider taking, well, 283 even. You could consider taking some profits. I think that's a smart idea. 2.83. Just to secure some, because you never really know on a day like today what's going to happen, and it really does suck when you bind something and you get so close to a PT or you're in profit and then all of a sudden you're not. Kind of sketchy that we're sitting on this 200 EMA for a longer period of time here, but that's okay because it does look like it's going all right. Sea-Doo starting to make its move up. We do see it touching that VWAP. We're going to watch this closely to see if it can break through. Saito hitting our entry finally at 0.7 or 0.63. Hopefully you guys were patient and got the 0.63. Maybe. Yeah, you know what? I'll type it in as is, like 1650, and it rounds up to 17, but we'll see what happens. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world if it messes it up a little bit anyway. UCA is down quite a bit. APLD. We are seeing 154 consistently, so that's good. Stim has yet to stop us out. If you didn't take profits at that 454 area, you might get another chance here. The bands are coming in pretty tight. Sea-Doo does slowly poke through that VWAP. We're not seeing it break through very hard yet, so it's going to take some time there. We've got Saito hitting our entry, hopefully ready to bounce because this is the final support line. To point to 4 decimals. Yeah, he could probably do that pretty easily. The problem is we don't play it stuff like this very often, and like the decimals, like when we're in like the 60 or 70 cent range like Saito, the decimals don't matter as much, but when you're down here, the decimals start to actually matter. It's weird. I don't like doing that. But you gotta do what you gotta do to make money, so if you have to play Zella at 16 cents, that's what we're doing. Even though the fees are horrendous on something that cheap. Like most of these stocks, aside from Saito here, they're like $12 in fees, $20 in fees. And then you have Zella here at $70 in fees each way. Sea-Doo's breaking through. We can look at this as an opportunity for an entry on Sea-Doo. Sea-Doo, we're probably going to want to get in around 340. We're going to go for 360 and a 330 stop loss. So fairly straightforward trade. Just give it 10 cents from where you get in. We look like we're hitting a run here, so I mean, don't wait too long to get in, but if you happen to miss the start of the climb here, I would definitely suggest maybe waiting a little bit and seeing if you can get lower. You don't want to be jumping in like crazy high. That's 347 right there. That's not terrible. Yeah, at least I'm not buying it with 100k up. Definitely. I don't know what we're at now. 14k, something like that. 345, not looking bad for an entry at 345. You might even be able to get a little lower. We're going to see. USDA is just like a very clear pattern of consolidation here. It's so hard. Zella hasn't moved up like at all. But it's going to the second I sell, so I'm just not going to do it. Plus, like me selling at the same price just seems ludicrous because that's just us wasting like $120 in fees. So I'm gonna have to hold it. APLD backed out of VWAP. Stim might go for something here. Sea-Doo does touch that 341 area. Not too bad for an entry. It's about where we wanted to go anyway. So 341, we'll go for 331 then. Saito was making a little bit of headway here, back up to just under 0.65, but again, drop back down. And what's ES doing today? What do we got with ES? A little bit of uptrend here, looks like. Lots of grain. Looking pretty good. Sea-Doo back up. We have STIM moving up. We have APLD moving up. We have USEA not moving up. And we have Zella not doing anything. Saito does take a drop. We're breaking through into that final resistance or support area, and it doesn't look too great. It looks like it's going to continue its breakdown. So I think I'm going to take a quick stop on this. I'm not really feeling it. I feel like it should have started to move up a lot quicker here, so I'm going to cut. Cutting it for a small loss or a break even, I mean, it's basically the same thing. It's going to be a loss either way because fees are like 50 bucks each way on the stock, so. It is what it is. We do have about 10 cents profit on Sea-Doo so far. Up to about 3 cents profit on STIM. Unless he took that earlier trade. We have APLD down a little bit. Looks like it is breaking down from that VWAP. If we start to see this breaking down further on this VWAP, potentially like that 146, I'd cut your runner. USEA not really doing a whole lot, and Zella starting its breakdown here. Not looking great, but we did see this low before, so as long as we don't break into this new low here, maybe. Curious to see if this is going to recover or not, but it's so close to the stop that I just got out for as close to break even as humanly possible, and we'll see what happens. Going to be a little upset if it does run, but that's just part of the game. Sea-Doo not doing a whole lot here. APLD looks like it might recover, looking half decent. We've got SQL. It's a really weird ticker, SQL. I'm not sure why that opened that with green steps on, but am I looking at the right SQL? This could not be the right SQL. $2. Yeah, all right, it's the right SQL. It's just not good. Okay. AKYA. Akia. Akia's not looking great. Yeah, we don't really have a whole lot else. WYY maybe. Nah. We're just gonna have to stick with what we got so far. It's gonna be a slow day. Usually this is when things start to slow down about the half-hour mark, but I have a feeling this is about as good as it's gonna get. Let's see here. Also, has anyone taken shoot, what's his name? Expo Jesse. Has anyone taken his alerts? He's pretty good. He gets some pretty good bangers. I'm not really sure how he's calculating his percentage gains because they're pretty ludicrous. Unless he's taking like SPY options instead, but he's future, so I'm actually not sure. But in any case, he does pretty well. He hits his targets. Yeah, Expo Jesse. We got a he does hold for a long time. You do have to have room. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't really have any futures analysts in here. We have Wiz. Wiz does Wiz things. It's not really alerts though, it's more insight. So we figured we'd get someone with some oh, maybe he's not visible to you guys yet. Actually, I could probably check that. Do you have him? Well, I think you might have to have him selected, but I don't know if that's a thing here. Hang on, let me go back to him and I'm gonna mess something up here going to permissions. By making a channel private, only select members and roles. It says VIP trial can... Oh, maybe it's just on trial. Oh no, he's got his alert thing set up, so you should be able to see it unless it hasn't been put. Yeah, I don't know how you missed it, unless he's actually invisible. But yeah, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but his thing looks like it's activated. Unless it's just not been put in. Oh, that's why. I'll have to let KSauce or Soulburn know. But yeah, so far I've been watching him for the past couple days, and it's looking pretty good. I think KSauce has he likes to wait a little while and just watch them to make sure that they're as good as they say they are before he releases it to the public, which is, not a bad thing for sure, but I think he's pretty good. I think he's been doing a decent job. I just haven't really been able to figure out his risk reward ratio or like how much he's risking. It might or might not work for future prop firm accounts. Although, I mean, worst case, you could always just trade micros and just have a little bit more room. Sea-Doo's not looking too great. We did drop down to 336, but we did see a high there, 354. So not bad. There was some room to take some profits there. If you didn't take any profits, it's still looking half decent. I still think you're going to make out with a little bit of profit here. Stim not looking fantastic, so if you're still holding on to the full amount, I'd probably honestly be looking to try and get a break even on it, or as close to as you can. APLD stopped us out on the runner. USEA is not doing a whole lot, so if you didn't take profits earlier on USEA, it's not looking fantastic, but we do look like we've hit a bottom here, and it's looking like it might move up from there. Zella is at 17 cents. We did see that spike, 17.50. So I believe that's basically what we were aiming for. Did I say 18 cents? I did say 18 cents, but that's definitely a good place to take profits. Definitely good to take profits on Zella. 1750. 0.1750. Because that's pretty big profits. So we'll see how that works. We might still get 18 out of it. I still think there's a possibility of that. It hasn't broken through this 200 EMA too hard yet, so you never know. USEA is moving back up, giving another opportunity to take some profits. APLD is coming down to that 200 EMA. This could be a pretty good area to try another trade. We do see that MACD is starting to turn around. Never mind, it's going straight down. However, it was turning around there, so... I think I'm going to try for a 140 entry. We're going to go for a 150 seems really far, but I think we can do it. And then a 138 stop loss. We're going to give it 2 cents. We could probably give it 3 cents. Actually, we could probably give it 4 cents if you really want to, but I think 137 is probably fine. Yeah, I honestly don't think you need 4 cents. 4 cents seems a little crazy to me. Plus, if we start to actually break down from this 200 EMA, we definitely don't want to be holding on to it anyway, so 137, pretty good place to be like, okay, maybe it's time to cut. Zella back down, we have USEA back down a little bit, APLD bouncing, we have Stim not doing anything. We have Sea-Doo back up to 351. Again, when you have 10 cents profit, even if it's a 350 on the stock, it's still looking pretty decent to take at least a little bit off. Sido does, in fact, continue its breakdown. Definitely a good idea that we cut when we did. So, yeah, I think Sido's pretty well dead. Volume's still holding, which is kind of weird. Yeah, volume's not looking bad on it, but really, like, this is going to be the last line of support. It is the very, very bottom here. So you might see a bounce off that 0.60. I would say that's the least likely scenario, though. Sea-Doo back down a little bit. Stim with the breakdown. So hopefully at some point you took a cut or some profits or break even on this stock before you hit the stop loss on it, because My God, that was a painful, painful drag. That was like 25 minutes of pain. There was an opportunity to take some cash out there. There was a couple opportunities to take some small money on it, but that's about it. USEA looks like it could still point you back out to about 283 before anything else. And then, of course, Zella here, we did take some profits around 1750. However, it's back down. And if it breaks down from this 1638 level, I think it's probably time to cut the runner. I don't think you want to hold past that. But with the way this is consolidating, I'm not sure it will drop. Stim just like completely letting go now. Sea-Doo looking pretty good here at that 352 area. Looks like it's potentially going to keep going. We do see that bottom band picking up. We do see this sitting positive on that MACD, and we do see an increase in volume. All good signs. So far, Sido's turning around. And we're still waiting on APLD here to kind of do something. We're still seeing a decent amount of volume in it. We're still seeing that MACD wants to turn around, but so far it's having issues. iLeg, we could take a look at iLeg again. We did play this one yesterday. It's looking pretty good today. And of course, Green Steps turns back on here. There we go. Yeah, iLeg is looking really good. I would say that this is a little bit high for an entry, so probably going to wait a little bit on it, but we'll see. It definitely could come down in an area that we could play. I honestly would like to see it come back down to this VWAP line at $3, but we are like 25 cents higher than that right now, so it could take a little bit. But we may be able to make a play off this eventually. APLD at 142. USEA still struggling. Zella with the breakdown. So this is where you're going to cut your runner if you're still holding on to any. There's no point in holding on past this. So make sure you're cutting. And there's the stop. APLD finally making a move up. We can get rid of that line. We did see up to 144 there from 140. I'd say 5 cents is a decent price point to take some profit. So if you get to 145 from 140, that's decent. I'll go ahead and alert that I want to take profits at that level. Taking some profits, 145 on APLD. Whatever Stim is telling us, we're just not going to believe it. Because Stim is a liar. Sea-Doo drops down into the stop, so we would be stopping out on whatever runner we have left. That being said, this still looks pretty good, other than that MACD just crossing into bear zone here, so we're going to see what this has in store. Maybe we jump back in. iLeg back up pretty good, actually. I'd be curious to see if this can consolidate for a couple minutes around this price point. Maybe we jump in at that point and see if it can make a move upwards. Zella continues its breakdown, so it's a good thing that you would cut if it broke down from this level here at 1638 because it obviously continued down for quite a ways. USEA still has a good chance of coming back. We haven't broken into a new low here, so all good signs there, other than the fact that this has like no volume and not really going anywhere. HNST has really not done anything. We could probably just close that down. Sea-Doo, it's still saying negative, but it hasn't broken down much further. We are seeing at the bottom of that band, and the bottom band is not opening up. Lots of sellers sacking, not a lot of buyers, but I don't think there's a lot of conviction on these sellers because it hasn't cost it to drop very far. Not really my normal kind of play, but I think I might just jump into Sea-Doo here just because these sellers aren't really being able to move this price yet. So I'm going to jump back in on Sea-Doo here at 330. We're going to aim for just go for 350, and then we're going to go for a 325 stop. So we could give it 10 cents. We could probably even give it 12 cents, but I actually don't want to. I want to give it a really tight stop here because, you know, my conviction on this is fairly low. It's not a normal play for me to take to base it off of psychological pressure, but it's looking good in that regard, so I'm going to take the chance with a tight stop. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. APLD at 146, so where that's past where we said we wanted to take profits. Make sure you take some profits here. I think 150 is pretty much around the corner here. We do have to break through this VWAP though. That could be an issue. But we'll see. We'll see if that's actually an issue or not. We do see iLeg still consolidating around this level, so that's definitely good news as well. Curious to see if we break through an APLD here. Come on. You can do it. Okay, well, that's boring. Sea-Doo did make a little bit of a drop back down to the low there, 330, so we got our entry. Looks like it's moved back up to about 336 now. We're still seeing more selling pressure than buying pressure, but the selling pressure is having a very, very hard time pushing it down. Stim still dropping. APLD makes it to 147, just under that 148 line. Looks like we might be getting rejected here. We have sellers stacking, but we do have buyers back at this level, so we might make a reattempt here to push. What is Saito doing? Not a lot. I feel like Saito's just going to continue to keep breaking down until we hit that 200 EMA, and then possibly there might be something at that level. All right, we have some building. We're building some buying pressure here on APLD. 119 buyers, 40 sellers. Maybe we make a push to 150 here pretty quick. No, buyers are looking a little exhausted at that level. We do have a base at 144 though, so gives us a chance, a little bit of a breather. And contracts on X. What is going on in this chat? Zella dumped? Yeah, Zella dumped hard. Yeah. As soon as we saw that breakdown at that 1638 level, it was all downhill from there. iLeg kind of consolidating still. This would be the opportune time to jump in at 320, and then if we don't like the way it's looking, we can always cut. We'll keep it with a tight stop, but I do think this is probably the perfect opportunity to jump in. So we're going to go iLeg 320, 345, and it's just a 315 stop. Again, we don't need a lot of room on this. I don't think so. I think 5 cents is going to be plenty. If we start to see this breakdown further than that, we're just not going to want to be in it. If you didn't give it the 5 cent stop and you wanted to be extra safe, you'd probably have to go 13, maybe 14 cent stop and get below that VWAP. APLD all the way back down. Sellers won that one. Sea-Doo still struggling here. Not looking as great as I thought it was going to. We have yet to break down, though, and with such a tight stop, I really don't think it matters if we hit the stop as much. So I'm willing to just give it the room to kind of figure out what it wants to do. Volume's a little bit lower as well. Zella with a little bit of a recovery here. iLeg at 325. Also, just an FYI, guys, if you guys haven't seen Terminal List, it's pretty good. I would definitely consider watching that. I didn't think it was going to be nearly as good as it was. And that new Resident Evil show, I actually had some spare time, so I sat down and tried to watch it, and it's just terrible. It's the worst. I would not waste my time on that. APLD at 345 again, or 145, sorry. UCA really not doing anything. Zella, yeah, sure, it's recovering a little bit, but nothing fantastic. Nothing we want to actually play. I mean, though, it would have been pretty great to get in at 15 cents and get out at 16 cents. I like right at the bottom here. So we're hoping that this starts to turn around and doesn't break down from this level. If it does start to even break down a little bit from that 320 level, probably a good idea to consider cutting. And I think a lot of people are going to do it, so you might see a sharp drop as soon as it does it. So being quick on the draw, not necessarily a bad thing here. Stim still dropping, Sea-Doo not doing anything. Cyto's a little bit of a recovery. iLeg is lagging. We have APLD looking like it wants to make another attempt at pushing through this VWAP. However, that top band is right there as well. Lots of selling pressure. Not quite sure it's going to do it, but we are getting very close. Get out of here, yeah. Well, I'm glad everyone's doing the same things wrong on Ninja because I also don't clear my cache or reload my charts or anything like that. I just kind of keep it as is. I haven't had it the same issue as having a couple months ago. Months ago? Was it months? Where it was just flopping and flipping my positions rather than anything else. Did have a slight breakdown there on iLeg, so this would be a decent place to cut. It's totally up to you. We aren't at that zero line on MACD yet. I'm not sure if we'll even hit that before we stop out. Yeah, there's the stop right there. So, I mean, there was a chance for really small profits on iLeg. I wouldn't consider it anything major. I mean, maybe 5 or 6 cents, but I didn't take any. I just took the stop out there. Well, I got 1 cent better than the stop out, but at the end of the day, it's the same. Sea-Doo still sitting there doing nothing. Sea-Doo turned into the next stim. APLD is still making its push. Yeah, I don't know about that. I saw that video too, Jackal, about him saying to delete the whole DB folder, but I think if you watch till the end, he actually, there's 150 right there on APLD. I think he says that you just want to delete the cache in it. I feel like deleting everything in that is going to be an issue. I think what he meant, or what he said, was to refresh the database in NinjaTrader. Like you can go in through the settings and say reset database, and then you're supposed to clear the cache after that. That's PT. I feel like we haven't hit like any PTs today. APLD, we've just been taking profits early on stuff. We're 154 on APLD. So we definitely caught a runner here, 156. Gonna definitely take some profits here. Taking some profits here. APLD. 159. Holy crap, 160. 160. We're breaking into new highs here. 161, 162. I haven't taken profits yet. 163. I'm gonna do it though, because that's crazy. All right, that made our day. That's all I wanted for today. I'm like, we still have a little bit of a runner here, but I don't think we're gonna get higher, and I really don't care if we get higher. That was a 140 to 163 trade. Crazy. Yep, the one perfect trade. That's all it takes. That was good. Like, look at this thing. If this isn't Pareto's principle, I don't know what is. You got like a couple decent trades, couple small trades, and then one banger. That was the 20% rule right there. Just have to be in them all and take those chances, and eventually one of them works out. Sea-Doo's actually starting to work out too. We're at 347, 348. We're almost at 350, and that's PT right there. Boom, just like that, we hit another PT. I guess I should say taking some profits. APLD still up there, still going. We gotta watch Sea-Doo as well, because that could potentially keep going as well. And we're definitely leaving a runner. Basically choked on my coffee there because I was so excited. Never in my life would I have thought we would have hit 2 PTs this far in the day and that fast. But it happened. Where's Millionaire Will? I think he saw like one thing this morning and had a mental breakdown and left. Yeah. He said something this morning. I didn't even catch what it was, and then he just kind of like pieced it. Something about oh, he likes to like quote what people say. Yeah, APLD is still going. I know. Yeah, we're at almost 170 on APLD. I like his VWAP. This could be a potentially really good trade. I only got 6 minutes left. I'm not really sure. Actually, this is almost guaranteed to be a good trade. I will never say something is guaranteed, but this is probably as close as you're going to get. You have that MACD definitely looking like it's time to turn around. You're right at the support line. You've got the bottom band right there. If you're looking for a good trade, something that's like probably going to work, it would probably be this one today. APLD did hit up to 167, so I mean, hopefully you secured at least a little bit more profit. But besides that, yeah, Sea-Doo still 350. We could still see a little bit higher. We saw 354 out of Sea-Doo. We might get a little bit more out of it. I like definitely looking good here. Yeah, I don't have time to take this play though. I feel like it's going to move up too slow, and I only got 5 minutes left. I mean, a lot can happen in 5 minutes. Nah, I'm not going to push my luck. I'm happy with the 2 wins that I got. But this is definitely looking good. If you were to get in, I'd say, yeah, get in like 312, 313. Put a stop loss down like 307. And then your PT should probably be the resistance here, 325. Sea-Doo almost at 360 here. I'm going to go ahead and start saying to take some more profits. Take some more profits on Sea-Doo 360-ish. $360 right there. 363 right at resistance. If we break through this resistance, that could be some good times for us. Fingers crossed. Let's get 2 bangers in a row. Actually, no, that was still a pretty good play. What was the percentage on that Sea-Doo play? Oh, it was only 10%. I actually thought it was more than that, but you know what? Today's been pretty decent, I have to say. Even though it was slow and kind of painful and kind of drawn out, it still worked out okay. APLD definitely looks like it wants to start to head back down here, but it could be a consolidation. We could see another run out of it. I'm just not convinced, though. I feel like we just had a really, really major run up, and it's probably time for a little bit of a pullback. USCA way down. Zella dead cat bounce. iLeg still looking good. Slow, it's drawn out like I thought it was going to be, but it is moving up slowly. Sea-Doo still holding that 360 line, looking to break through, but we saw it reject off this 3 times now, so that's usually the rule to get out. So we're gonna see. ES still climbing. You're still in Saito? Well, I mean, the good news is it's back up to entry and looking like it's going higher than our entry. So if you're talking about the last Saito trade we took, you're technically in profits now, or pretty close to it. So in this case, it worked out if you're still in it. I like hitting 318, not bad. All right, so I mean, you could cut your runner here on Sea-Doo whenever you want. You could cut the runner on APLD whenever you want as well. That's pretty much the last of what we had going on here. So to quickly recap, we took quite a few trades today, more than I thought. Actually, we took more than yesterday by quite a bit, and actually more than the day before as well. And the day before, we actually took a lot of trades today. It seems slow, but we actually made away with quite a bit percentage-wise. We had a couple good ones on Saito. Then we had Stim, which was like surprised we even got a win out of Stim, to be honest. Um, we had APLD here for a small loss and then a win. Saito for a break even. Couple small ones and then a banger on APLD, banger on Sea-Doo, and then an I-Leg loss. This last I-Leg trade I didn't take, but it is looking good. As far as the money board looks, we made $4,000 today. That brings our total up to $16,308. We're up 3,000% for the month. And our win rate went up slightly again by 0.7%, so we're at 67.9% now. So we're getting there. We're slowly grinding our way back to 70% win rate. But yeah, other than that, I-Leg's looking good. I'd consider playing that still. I think APLD could be good as long as we wait for the pullback or maybe potentially the next run after a consolidation. Sea-Doo's still looking really good. We've seen that it's got some volume behind it and some pressure, so I think this is definitely something that could continue moving as well. Saito's not looking terrible. I think it's a slow mover. I think you'd have to really be patient with it, but I still think there's some money you could make off this. I'd probably stay away from Zella. It's looking pretty dead. But yeah, and USEA is the same, pretty dead. So I definitely not play those two. We're using 50% of the portfolio with margin. That means I can take 4 trades at the same time. So technically, we could do a maximum of 4. I'm usually not in 4. I would say the average is probably 2 and 3 on the high end. Um, I think there's been a couple times this month where I've taken 4 at a time, but it's not very often. But yeah, it's usually about 2 at a time, I would say. But yes, the maximum would be theoretically 4 trades at a time. Other than that, guys, I'm hopping off. Hopefully you have a good rest of your day. Hopefully you made a little bit of money, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Take care, guys.